When the world spins fast, slow down. When voices rise, let silence answer. And when the fire of chaos burns through your life, be the still water. Calmness isn't weakness. It's not the absence of pressure, it's power under control. In a world that glorifies reaction, calmness is rebellion. In a time of noise, calmness is a signal. It's not being passive. It's being deliberate, strategic, unshakable. Storytelling, emotional anchoring. Think back to a moment where everything was falling apart, but you held it together. Not by shouting, not by panicking, but by breathing, watching, choosing your move. That's not luck. That's not personality. That's training. Build the core message. Calmness is trained. Calmness is built like a muscle. It comes from doing hard things with steady hands. It comes from making decisions under pressure and not letting pressure make decisions for you. When others rush, you pause. When others crack, you focus. When others drown in emotion, you rise in awareness. That's strength. That's calmness with a backbone. Powerful refrain mindset shift. Calm is not soft. Calm is steel in silence. It's a fighter's mindset with a monk's posture. It's the eye of the storm. Quiet, centered, immovable. Practical wisdom. Build calm like a warrior. To develop calmness, you train your breath. You protect your peace like it's gold. You slow your thoughts. You stop being a slave to urgency. You don't react. You respond. And above all, you learn that your inner world is yours, unshakable, unbreakable, undisturbed. Closing epic call to action. So from this day forward, let them throw their storms. Let life press every button. Let the chaos come. Because now, you don't just survive pressure, you master it. And with that calmness, you don't just win battles, you end wars before they begin. Calmness is not weakness. It is controlled strength. It is the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout to be heard. It doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. It doesn't need to dominate to feel powerful, because it knows its worth. Calmness is the quiet confidence that shows up when others are losing their grip. It's the energy that stays steady in the middle of chaos. It's the mind that doesn't race just because the world is running. It's the heart that doesn't shake when everything else does. People often mistake calm for soft. They think if you're not loud, you're not strong. If you don't fight back with noise, you're afraid. But they've never met someone whose silence holds weight, whose stillness is louder than shouting, whose pause is more dangerous than a punch, because calmness doesn't come from fear, it comes from mastery. It's not the absence of emotion, it's the command of it. It's not being numb, it's knowing exactly how to feel and when to release. It's not about being passive, it's about choosing your moment with precision. The calm person isn't without pressure. They've just trained not to flinch under it. They've felt panic, but they don't obey it. They've heard the noise, but they don't join it. There's a stillness that only comes from discipline, from choosing to respond rather than react, from choosing to breathe instead of break, from choosing clarity over chaos. When you're calm, people will question you. They'll wonder why you're not panicking with them, why you're not rushing to answer, to argue, to attack. And in that stillness, they'll see the power you hold. Because calmness exposes what others hide. It reveals the difference between those who control their world and those who are controlled by it. Calmness doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to protect your energy, to protect your mind, to protect your peace. This isn't about being above emotion. It's about not being owned by it. It's about recognizing that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's measured in who can stay silent and still win. Sometimes it's who can stay grounded and lead. Sometimes it's who can stay calm and never be moved. Calmness is a trained response, not a natural gift. No one is born unshakable. No one enters this world already steady under pressure. We learn calmness We build it. We earn it through repetition, through mistakes, through storms. It's easy to be calm when everything's perfect. It's when life is unfair, when people misunderstand you, when deadlines crush you, and emotions run high, that's when the real training begins. Calmness comes from experience, from moments when you reacted too fast and paid the price. From times when you let anger lead and it led you the wrong way. It's shaped in those quiet regrets that whisper, "I should have paused." You don't become calm by avoiding chaos. You become calm by walking through it, falling apart sometimes, and learning how to stand taller each time after. It's not about never feeling triggered. It's about recognizing the trigger and choosing not to explode. It's about seeing the storm rising inside you and still choosing peace over panic. Every breath you take before you speak is training. Every moment you pause instead of punch back is growth. Every time you sit with discomfort rather than run from it, you're sharpening your edge. You're strengthening the muscle of calm. People will think some are just naturally calm, but they don't see the hours of inner work, the battles fought behind the scenes, the times you wanted to break down but chose to breathe instead. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's self-control built over time. Calmness requires awareness. You have to observe yourself in real time. Watch your thoughts without becoming them. Watch your emotions without obeying them. This kind of strength doesn't come overnight. It's the slow, daily discipline of choosing your peace over your pride, over your impulse, over your need to win in the moment. Calmness is built like any other skill with practice, with patience, with persistence. You don't wait for it, you train it, you fall, you reflect, you reset, and then one day the things that used to shake you don't. Stillness is powerful in a reactive world. In a world that runs on speed, stillness is resistance. In a culture addicted to instant replies, stillness is intelligence. When everyone is rushing to speak, stillness listens. When emotions are high and tempers are flaring, stillness watches, not because it doesn't care, but because it understands the cost of careless reaction. Stillness isn't doing nothing, it's doing everything on purpose. It's presence, it's clarity, it's awareness in a world that's half asleep. In meetings, in arguments, in crisis, stillness shifts the room. Because when one person refuses to be pulled into the chaos, it challenges everyone else to slow down. Stillness makes people uncomfortable because it can't be predicted. It doesn't follow the crowd. It doesn't respond on cue. It forces others to confront their own noise. It exposes the lack of control that hides behind loud voices and quick reactions. We've been taught that to be powerful is to be loud, to speak first, to dominate, but stillness flips that. Stillness says, I don't move unless it matters. I don't speak unless it's true. I don't act unless it's necessary. In stillness, decisions become sharper. Vision becomes clearer, and emotions stop running the show. Stillness allows space for thought, for reason, for truth. It's the moment between the spark and the fire, the space where wisdom lives. It's not weakness. It's not hesitation, it's discipline, it's poise, it's the difference between reacting and responding. You don't owe the world your immediate reply. You don't owe every emotion a reaction. You don't have to match the chaos to survive it. Stillness is strength under control. It's choosing to be rooted while everything around you shakes. It's refusing to let urgency dictate your value. Because in stillness, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your mind. You reclaim your power, and while the world runs, you rise. Reacting is emotional, responding is strategic. A reaction is fast, it's instant, it's raw and unfiltered. It comes from the gut, not from the mind. It's the sharp word you wish you hadn't said, the decision you regret as soon as it's made, the message you send before thinking twice, the moment where emotion takes the wheel and logic is locked in the trunk. Reactions feel powerful in the moment. They feel justified, but often they cause more damage than they solve. They burn bridges, they escalate conflicts, they create noise, not solutions. A response is different. A response comes from awareness, from patience, from understanding the weight of your words before you speak them. It's intentional, it's measured, it's calm even when things are not. Responding doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It means you don't let them make decisions for you. You feel everything, but you filter it, you wait, you assess, you choose your next move with purpose, not pressure. Reacting is survival. Responding is leadership. Reacting is instinct. Responding is wisdom. Reactions say, I need to win right now. Responses say, I'm thinking long term. Reactions are fueled by ego. Responses are guided by clarity. Anyone can react. It takes strength to respond, because to respond, you have to pause. You have to breathe through the storm. You have to resist the urge to prove something in the heat of the moment. That pause, that space between stimulus and action, that's where growth lives. That's where power is reclaimed. You stop being controlled by the outside world and start choosing your place within it. People will try to pull you into drama, into arguments, into chaos, but when you respond instead of react, you take control of the direction. You shift the energy, you protect your peace. Responding doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to play the long game, to choose clarity over pride, truth over ego, peace over dominance. Reacting may feel strong for a second, but responding builds strength that lasts. You don't need to prove yourself. You know who you are. You've already done the work. You've faced the mirror, the failures, the doubts, and the doubts of others. You've stood in rooms where people didn't see your worth, but you didn't shrink. You didn't perform, because your value isn't up for debate. There's a calm power in knowing who you are. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to impress people who don't even understand your journey. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to constantly show your resume, your struggles, or your strength. You live it. You walk in it. You let your presence speak before your mouth does. When you know who you are, you no longer react to every opinion. You no longer flinch at every judgment. You no longer feel the need to convince people of your worth, because the people who matter won't need convincing, and the ones who need convincing don't really matter. You're not here to meet someone else's expectations. You're not here to compete with anyone but the older version of you. You're not here to wear masks to make others comfortable. You've outgrown that. You've outgrown the need to prove your power through noise. Now your strength is shown through your peace. Your confidence is shown in your silence. Your identity is no longer tied to performance. It's rooted in truth. You don't move through life desperate to be accepted. You move through life already accepted by yourself, and that's enough. You've learned that proving yourself is exhausting and unnecessary, because no matter how much you give, the wrong people will never see you clearly. And the right people won't need you to prove a thing. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You don't need to explain why you walk the way you do. You know who you are, and that kind of knowing, it quiets the noise, it calms the chaos, and it makes you unstoppable without ever having to shout. Protecting your peace is a form of self-respect. It means you've decided that your mental clarity is not up for negotiation. It means you value your energy enough to guard it. It means you no longer allow just anything or anyone to enter your space unchecked. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary, because when you're at peace, you think better. You love deeper, you move with purpose, but when your peace is constantly disturbed, you begin to lose pieces of yourself. You start reacting instead of thinking. You start carrying emotions that don't even belong to you. You start walking through life drained, angry, confused. That's why protecting your peace is not an option. It's a priority. You protect it by saying no without guilt. You protect it by walking away from conversations that go nowhere. You protect it by creating boundaries and actually enforcing them. You protect it by distancing yourself from people who constantly bring storms. You don't have to explain every boundary you set. You don't need approval to guard your spirit. You're not responsible for how people feel about your peace, because the truth is, some people thrive in chaos, and when you refuse to join their drama, they'll call you cold, distant, or selfish. Let them talk. You're not here to play in the mud just to prove your compassion. You're allowed to choose calm over conflict. You're allowed to choose rest over proving a point. You're allowed to remove yourself from situations that cost you your inner balance. It's not that you don't care. It's that you care too much about what's growing inside you, about the dreams you're building, about the healing you're protecting, about the life you're trying to live with intention. Protecting your peace is honoring the progress you've made. It's respecting the path you've walked just to get here. It's realizing that your peace is not a weakness, it's your power. And once you've tasted true peace, you stop trading it for temporary comfort. You stop giving it up just to keep others comfortable. You stop apologizing for choosing yourself. Because when you respect your peace, you teach the world how to treat you. And that is one of the highest forms of self-love. Breath control is the gateway to calmness. Before the mind calms, the breath must slow. Before you gain control of a moment, you must first gain control of your breath. Your breath is your anchor. When everything feels like it's moving too fast, it brings you back. Back to your center, back to what's real, back to now. When emotions rise, your breath is the first to change. It gets shallow, it gets quick, it gets panicked. But when you slow your breath, you slow your thoughts. You slow your heart, you slow the urge to react. One deep breath can create just enough space between a thought and an action, between a trigger and a response, between falling apart and holding it together. That space, that pause, that's where your power lives. Breath control is not just a technique. It's a practice, it's a habit. It's a daily return to your own presence. It teaches you that you don't have to follow every thought. You don't have to obey every feeling. You can breathe through it. You can ride the wave instead of being crushed by it. In the middle of chaos, you may not be able to control the world. You may not be able to stop what's coming at you. But you can control how you breathe through it. And sometimes that's enough. Enough to stay grounded. Enough to stay focused. Enough to stay calm while others spiral. Inhale deeply, not just for oxygen, but for perspective. Exhale slowly, not just to release air, but to release tension, anger, fear. Breath control is the secret weapon most people overlook. It's available to you at any time. No tools, no cost, just awareness, just intention. It's the first step to reclaiming your mood, your clarity, your strength. The more you practice breath control, the more natural calmness becomes, not just in quiet moments, but in loud ones. Not just when you're alone, but when you're tested. When you control your breath, you don't just calm your body, you command your presence. You lead with stillness, you move with control, you show the world that nothing outside of you can shake what you've mastered within. Calmness is presence in motion. It's not about sitting still with your eyes closed. It's not about escaping the world. It's about being fully asterisk in asterisk it, without being consumed by it. Calmness doesn't mean stopping. It means moving with awareness. It means doing without rushing. It means speaking without forcing. It means acting without panicking. It's walking through noise without becoming the noise. It's hearing chaos and not letting it echo inside you. It's being here, truly here, fully alive and fully grounded. When you are calm, your body may be in motion, but your mind is centered, your soul is steady. You're not lost in what happened yesterday or pulled into fear about tomorrow. You're right here, making every step count, every breath intentional, every decision rooted. Calmness is presence in motion, because presence is not stillness of body, it's stillness of attention. You can run a business, raise a family, chase your goals and still be calm, still be clear, still be fully connected to what matters. Because calmness is not about slowing your life, it's about slowing your mind. It's about not letting urgency run your schedule, not letting pressure rewrite your priorities, not letting stress drive your decisions. Presence in motion means you move with meaning. You know why you're doing what you're doing. You're not being dragged by life, you're leading your way through it. It's knowing when to pause, when to speak, when to hold back, and when to push forward, all without losing yourself. People may see you moving and think you're just as busy, just as stressed, just as overwhelmed. But you're not, you're aligned, you're intentional, you're fully present in every step you take. That's the secret. It's not about avoiding motion, it's about mastering motion without losing your peace. Because when calmness becomes your foundation, you don't need quiet to find clarity. You carry clarity into the noise. You bring peace into the storm. You don't just move through life, you move with life. And that's what makes calmness unstoppable. You are not your emotions, you are their observer. They pass through you, but they are not you. They rise, they fall, but they do not define your identity. Anger may visit, but you are not anger. Fear may whisper, but you are not fear. Sadness may sit beside you, but you are not sadness. You are the space they pass through, the sky, not the storm, the container, not the contents. You are the awareness watching the waves, not the wave itself. Emotions are messengers. They come to tell you something, to teach you something, but they are not meant to take control. They're not meant to be in charge of your actions. When you forget you're the observer, you start identifying with every mood. You say, I am angry, instead of I feel anger. And in that small shift of words, you give your power away. But when you step back, even for a moment, and watch your emotions like clouds drifting by, you reclaim your space. You reclaim your choice. You become the calm in the middle of your own storm. You can say, ah, this is anxiety. This is frustration. This is disappointment. And just like that, you've created distance. You've reminded yourself that you are witnessing these feelings, not becoming them. The observer doesn't suppress emotions. It honors them, listens to them, but doesn't let them lead. The observer doesn't pretend to be unaffected, it just refuses to be controlled. You can be flooded with feeling and still stay rooted in clarity. You can be moved but not shaken, touched but not taken over. This practice takes strength, it takes honesty, it takes self-awareness. But every time you choose to observe rather than absorb, you grow. You gain wisdom. You sharpen your inner calm. Because when you realize you are not your emotions, you stop fighting yourself. You stop labeling yourself based on a bad moment, a heavy day, a temporary storm. You are the one watching, learning, evolving. You are not the noise. You are the silence behind it. Calm people aren't avoiding conflict. They are mastering it. They're not running from hard conversations. They're not afraid to speak truth. They're not pretending everything is fine when it's not. They simply choose a different weapon, not yelling, not threats, not ego. They choose clarity. They choose control. They choose to protect the message, not just defend their pride. Being calm doesn't mean you stay silent forever. It means you wait for the right moment to speak. It means you choose words that carry weight, not just heat. It means you fight the battle that matters, not every battle that appears. People mistake calmness for weakness. They think if you don't raise your voice, you don't have one. But calm people are not silent because they're scared. They're silent because they're thinking, because they've seen what chaos does, and they know they don't have to match it. Calm people have mastered their reactions. They've trained themselves to pause, to breathe, to listen. They don't react to the tone. They respond to the truth behind it. They don't escalate the heat. They cool the fire before it spreads. Conflict will come. That's a guarantee. But calm people are prepared. Not to win an argument, but to resolve it, to understand, to be understood, to move forward without destroying the relationship along the way. They don't fight to be right. They fight to be real, to be respectful, to be intentional with what they say, and even more intentional with what they don't. Because sometimes the strongest response is not what you say, it's what you choose not to say. Mastering conflict means knowing the cost of every word. It means choosing peace when war is easy. It means leading with emotional intelligence instead of emotional impulse. Calm people can stand in the fire and not burn. They can handle tension without collapsing. They can confront discomfort without creating more of it. They've learned that conflict doesn't have to be loud to be effective. It doesn't have to be brutal to be honest. It doesn't have to end in destruction to bring change. Calm isn't passive. Calm is power-focused. And when conflict shows up, calm people don't avoid it. They own it.